Hey guys, welcome to another session of RBTL, the Reading Between the Lines. This one might be a shorter one, as it's a more underwhelming patch. I know a lot of people were looking forward to the collab announcement last night, and from what I know, there doesn't seem to be any. I didn't stay up because I didn't really feel that there would be big things, and I'm glad I didn't stay up because there wasn't that much stuff. I think the biggest announcement, honestly, was the Rouel skin preview, which I'll preview here. I'll discuss. We are getting to the end of episode 3, just a couple months left, guys, and we'll get selective summon 2.0. So I'm looking forward to that one. I was like, you're gonna get a 5-star out of it. Lafundo's frame caught my attention. I thought that looked pretty good. Too bad it's like a generic, just beat the story. It's kind of like the Abyss frame. I think it's Abyss 100. Yeah, that kind of like that one looks pretty good actually, like, and this one looks like nice, kind of clean. I like the background too, good for like World Arena and stuff. Maybe for my pets, even though I really don't even use the pets, like the pet hub much anymore, except to do my daily pet summon. The Bunny Kron skin finally coming out. It looks good, it looks good. I've skipped the skins myself. 900 Skystone is a bit too steep for me, but it looked good. Like if anything out of the recent skins, including the Rose skin, which I did not get, I would say that this one looks better. So like it looks more interesting. So alright, let's talk about I think the meat of this patch note. 3 exclusive equipment, and Smilegate was good to deliver on that promise, saying that 3 are going forward, so we're gonna get them at a more rapid rate. If it's about the same rate and we're getting it 3 times, you're just getting a lot more out of it. For the 3 here, I will say, like, overall arching, not too game changing. It just it's the right amount, I guess, for the heroes that need it in terms of like the EEs. So Charlotte getting up to 14% health. Little Queen's Guard, 14% health is actually very much needed on her. She has very low base HP. For Leo Knight, and every other stat is okay. Super slow, high crit rate though, decent attack. That health will come in handy. It's scaling on something low, but you're getting at least like like maybe 600, somewhat like about 600 HP, which is you'll take it for sure. And on top of course the EE special effects, and I think out of all of them, I'd say the go-to would be Will of the Swamp. So the S2, the passive, increases the combat readiness of the caster by 10%. It is interesting though that this is on a passive skill, so I'm curious what Archdemon's Shadow Seal would do. So like it would seal the effects of her usual passive, but it would seal the effects of the EE. I'm curious about that myself. I never really thought about that interaction. But yeah, other than I think the S1, 10% extra damage, like you go for something. I think you'll go for the combat readiness. So combat readiness, even with Politis on the scene, or anyone to reduce CR, is just too big in this game, because she already has kind of like slowish speed, and depending on what kind of set you have her on and what kind of speed you get her to, 10% CR is just too much to give away for anything else. Vortex Dispel 2 debuffs from the caster is odd as well, because Vortex takes a while to ramp up. Now arguably, if you get souls and you get it, you'll be able to use it indefinitely, so that means that she is a full cleanse like all the time. It depends on where you use her. I can see that being used, and depends on the fight, it could be used. I just think that the go-to would definitely be Will of the Swamp, but I think that should be pretty clear for anybody watching this video. Frigid Spirit, Mort on the other hand, has decent base health. Also being a knight, of course, at 14% health, this will be very, very good for his kit overall. So not just survivability, of course, but more damage dealt because he's an HP scaling bruiser, and then like the survivability, just like Charlotte, but his skill's higher anyway, so much better payoff in terms of the base stat. So Extermination increases the decreased defense chance by 10%, so up to 60% defense break, which is great. But he even right now he's an RNG hero, and I mean that's pretty much the biggest reasons that him, Charles, and Ilanav getting sort of underwhelming ratings, and it's just because they're RNG heroes. And you know what, RNG heroes are okay, but I mean, in World Arena scenarios where people are trying to build for and actually have the heroes and pull for heroes, really that's where you'll see them. RNG heroes are great on defense, I think, paired with the right comp, with the right strategy. And then this is where Mort suffers right now. Originally, when I did my initial thoughts on Mort, I actually rated him pretty high, but that was like before the World Arena Frenzy changes had happened. So in terms of the HP being reduced so quickly, it really was like a passive nerf to Mort's injury, and therefore also Ilinav's injury. And the very fact that injury does not work through barrier. So Mort, I think what I've heard is that Smallgate did announce, I guess I've missed this memo, that they will buff Mort in terms of like he'll be in line for a buff. I was hoping that the latest Mort banner meant that he would be getting a buff soon, but rather he's getting an EE for now. You know what? I'm still optimistic that he'll probably get a buff. I know this is a lot of context to this, but my point being is that none of his EEs are actually that good unless he gets a buff. So in terms of like, it doesn't change, it won't change his use rate, at least not from what I can see. So yeah, 10% defense break on S1 extermination is from 50% to 60%. It's good, but you need Elbrus, or you need counter, or you need enough speed, and you need to still proc it on that turn. Absolute Dignity extends the duration of the increased critical hit resistance buff granted by Sacred Blessing by 1 turn. So on default, it is a 2-turn speed buff to himself if he casts Sacred Blessing. Only 1 turn crit damage reduction. So sorry, not crit damage reduction, critical hit resistance. So I mean that being an issue, that even if you get an extra turn, it might offset the chances that he can proc it again, because so he can only proc Sacred Blessing once every 2 turns. So it might just be enough. But again, the issue is whether he procs it. He needs to crit. He still needs to crit to be able to have a chance to use Sacred Blessing, which has so there's multiple layers of RNG, and that's the struggle with the Mort. And I think maybe a different buff would help him, but I mean he has to crit. That's the issue. So evasion, anti-element, like elemental disadvantage, the opponent's team having crit resistance buff, or your Mort sadly not having 100% crit. All those things can cut into the use of this. So like, I mean, again, like I said, underwhelming. But I mean, based on the EE here, critical hit resistance buff, I don't think that the critical hit resistance buff will be the one that's changed if he gets the buff. Maybe proc rate to lower the RNG. But anyways, and then the Advent Mortelix, damage dealt increased by 10% when using it. So the damage dealt would be good. It doesn't help with his healing. Based on the reading of his skill, the healing is based on his max HP, not damage dealt from his max HP. But the damage dealt is improved by his max HP. So if you have this, and it's needed to, you know, make his injury more effective, it could be okay. I mean, another issue is, again, he doesn't get his own, somehow his S3 cooldown back, whereas Ilinav has the advantage. One, he has a 15% maximum injury damage. Ilinav has 20%. So, and Ilinav has higher scaling. Ilinav can also do it multiple times based on RNG, but only a 50% rate, which is pretty good. You can soul burn it, so she could lower the S2 cooldown too. So in terms of injury in general, Mort seems to be kind of out of the question, again, unless they buff injury, the mechanic, to have a somewhat of a, maybe a reduced usage versus barriers, or not. Today I fought a guild war where someone was running a Ilinav, obviously on Elbrus Ritual Sword, Troublemaker Closet, and Landy, and all I had to do was bring FCC, and that was fine. And Ilinav really didn't do anything. I don't think she actually set any injury off. Again, RNG hero. She actually did not proc the Elbrus, and nor go into the S1, but going to the S2. So she didn't proc the injury. She only did the S2 in general, and it wasn't enough because she did the S2 on my FCC with skill null. So the injury did not affect. So I can see Mortelix just not being that good right now. But again, that's pending buff. So I have hope. I'm optimistic. I'm just saying that the EE right now, as his kit is right now, you won't see that much use. That's the unfortunate part. Angelica, I can see her EEs, 2 of them definitely being used. S1, increased combat readiness of ally except the caster with the highest attack, but 15% with Holy Strike. So if you have her on idle cheer, I think that could be very, very good for people who are starting off in Wyvern. Now she is a connection hero already too, and she didn't used to be, and people had to re-roll for Angelica. She's definitely fallen off. So if you're watching this video and you're watching some older videos saying Angelica is a must-have, she is not on this meta. The speed is +10, up to +10 though, so that definitely gets her to a point where like I think she could be used even in PvP, right? So in the Holy Strike, I was thinking about this because she already has kind of low base speed. No, not kind of, she has low base speed. This will get her nearly to 100 speed with the 10 speed there, but not even. So she's definitely on the side of like struggling in terms of the speed department. She'll be just okay, like just borderline, we'll call normal speed with the EE there. But I was thinking of having her on a counter set with idle cheer and then with the Holy Strike EE. Could be pretty funny. It could be PvP-able, just based on if no one has an unbuffable type of debuff, like maybe a Guild War offense potentially. The S3 Guide of the Goddess, you have 2 versions of it. One, increase the healing amount by 15%. I don't see this one to be used as much, as her heal can be based on our gear quality right now. You know, so like you won't really need that for extra 15%. I definitely say that the second Guide of the Goddess would be the one I would go to. Dispel 1 debuff from the ally before using Guide of the Goddess. So in terms of a hero that is using an unbuffable skill, whether it's a it's a skill that causes 2 debuffs, but the unbuffable is first, as long as she can dispel the unbuffable, this is very, very nice. So I think Angelica's EE, it's just because no one really uses her, that's the issue. Otherwise, you know, it's not like a terrible EE. She's not a terrible hero. I think this EE is probably I would say the best EE out of all 3 in terms of like, you can see her being used for people who struggle to have either like a single cleanser into a immunity buffer, like they don't have Ray or something like that, or they don't have ML Cowrick, which again, this makes ML Cowrick less useful yet again. I was like, my issue with ML Cowrick was the amount of competitors he has to kind of go through in terms of just the S3. I know he does full cons, I know he does attack buff, you guys know what I'm talking about, but it's just, yeah, this is good. Angelica's is fine. It's what she needs. I don't think she needs a buff, but this is exactly what she needs. Base speed increase, dispel, yeah. So I mean, that's it for the EEs. Otherwise, Kayron drop banner drop is here, or I guess for the skin. Not much else I want to talk about here. Got the preview from the stream. That a series coming as well. It's okay. Well, last thing I want to talk about is the Rouel skin. Now, I will put myself out here. You guys know me, that I'm not really fearful of getting hate, and you guys know I have my very strong opinions on certain things. I do not like the skin. I don't like the skin. It's not the worst skin. It's not Athletica level, but it's not great. I definitely think that it's probably Rouel as a character. There's something about the Rouel original design. I know people have issues with her bunny teeth, I know, but just use an expression that doesn't make her smile, okay? I'm face palming right now because I mean, I can tell you guys some dating stories. Before that, come to my Twitch stream sometime and you'll hear me talk about it. But I have so many examples of this, but I don't want to make those comparisons because it does sound very toxic. But in terms of the new skin, I can definitely say, like, pros and cons, okay? The scepter that she holds, it looks like what you would see in those like ancient maps, like the compass. So in that sense, I kind of like the there could be some lore behind it, because I can see those compasses also floating around her in the back. There could be lore behind it, but I kind of prefer the old scepter better. It just like you wouldn't question it. Like it has like those angel wings too, and it kind of makes sense because like when she revives, you know, you see those angels. So like it seems more fitting for her S3. Now, from my understanding, there hasn't been a reveal of her animation yet. That will come later. But it would be interesting to see if they change any of those elements outside of her skin. So like the angel that prays in her S3 animation, like does that change? I don't think so, but either way, I think the original one has that better echo. Also, just like the kind of like the emerald gem kind of thing, it makes her look more pristine. The new one looks cleaner, I would say, arguably. I definitely like the new one's outfit. You could see more Ruel's top skin in terms of like what she has to offer, and I'm okay with it. And it's not super revealing. I'm a leg guy. You guys know that I'm a leg guy. I don't know about Ruel's legs though, but that's not the skin's issue. That's her base character, because she already has leg issues in the previous one. I think it's the fact that she's a goddess, or yeah. So I think that's the reason. Like kind of like elongated proportions. So I'm okay with that in terms of that. Like I understand it, but it's like if you don't got the meat, you know, don't show off. Like don't remove the wrapping, you know what I mean? So like in terms of, see, this is what I mean. I'm gonna get a lot of hate because I know there are gonna be a lot of people who like it. I find her new face, that angle, even though I heard some of I heard the community managers, Moshi and New, talk about like, oh, she has full teeth or whatever. It's not a good angle. It's not a good angle, and I'm sorry if I offend any girls who take selfies, but generally you don't want to do a low angle looking up, like the perspective. So in terms of the perspective of the Ruel, it's nearly, I know that some people who watch are actually like, you know, you guys draw, you know, like there's a couple of, like there's very talented people on my Discord and on other Discords who draw like fan art and stuff. Generally you don't want to do a low angle looking up, and because it's animation or anime, you can force the perspective. So in this case it looks okay, but you don't usually want to take a selfie from a low angle looking up. It's not the most what do you call, flattering in terms of images. So it's an interesting pose that they chose. The pose feels very forced. It's like because the original Ruel didn't have much of a pose, so they couldn't have her just standing again, so let's have her stand but on a 3/4 angle. So it just I know it sounds like I'm criticizing too much. I'm not. I think that again, compared to Athletica's skin, this is much better. But I actually somehow like the old skin. Maybe I'm just used to it, but I have the expression where she's not showing the bunny teeth. That could be the fix. Just close the mouth, right? If you don't if you don't got the teeth, just close the freaking mouth. I don't think the new teeth is much more flattering. It reminds me, like if I add a sparkle, like a little shine, I could definitely see that it could be like a toothpaste commercial. You know what? Let's make a toothpaste commercial meme. Let's do it. I think it could definitely work, and she could pull it off. She's got the toothpaste commercial smile, you know. But either way, I think art wise, like the fidelity of the artwork looks fantastic. Some questionable decisions on my part, but I can't be too picky. I'm not the one drawing here. I definitely have to say, out of all the skins still so far, like Fallen Cecilia was the big improvement. I rarely hear people say that they like the original Fallen Cecilia, but there could be, you know, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But just don't let me behold this one. All right. Anyways, that's it. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are in the comments down below based on the EE, and what about the Ruel skin. I'm pretty sure you guys are liking it. I think the majority of people like it, but I have seen a handful of people that have questionable thoughts on it as well. Not being overly critical for critical sake, but honestly giving the kind of like the feedback that I gave, like actual, you know, nitpick, I guess. But anyways, let me know what your thoughts are. I'm gonna end this for the video recording. If you guys have Discord, check out the Discord server. Follow me on Twitter, subscribe to YouTube if you haven't. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.